Hello, very good morning. My name is Nihal, and today we'll be going to cover something about the cybersecurity challenges and the Palo Alto Firewall. And so let me just give you my brief introduction. So my name is Nihal. As of now, I'm working with the big MNC, and my roles and responsibilities are basically I'll be working as a senior security architect, and we'll be dealing with the different type of cybersecurity solutions. So providing the best possible way to deploy our cybersecurity solutions through which we can just safeguard our enterprise environment and and through which we can just save the different. And today in this session, we'll be looking about this cybersecurity challenges. What cybersecurity challenges we'll be facing. Uh, uh, People, there are the attacks happening into things in the to, trying to remove or trying to optimize such type of risks as much they can. Sir, are you there? Is that my voice is audible and it's clear? Hello, hello. Okay, so we'll be moving forward. So let's see what is cybersecurity. What cybersecurity is in this session. Total, we have total 6 points, and we'll see like what is cybersecurity, what is the risk in the cybersecurity, and what are the next generation firewalls, and what are the firewalls, and what are the data security. And in firewalls, why we'll be selecting only Palo Alto, and how Palo Alto is going to be like it's leading the market across the globe. And let's see, and after moving forward, we'll see some hands-on over the Palo Alto, like how we can just deploy a like minimum deploy how we can just do a minimum deployment like in our infrastructure, and some we can also see the dashboard of the Palo Alto, how exactly it looks like. So cybersecurity is just a practice, like how we can just make sure our data, our assets, our our mode of our crucial data and everything across the enterprise organization, how we can just make sure everything is safeguarded from the cyber crimes. Cyber crimes basically is done by the hackers only. It is something ki we can say ki there is one person, and his intention is totally to just get the data and sell it to someone, or if we can just encrypt the data and then he can just ask for that particular amount, or some there are different type of hackers. It depend on the hackers mentality कि basically वो करना क्या चाहता है hacker. Something in cyber security, it is something like how we can make sure कि जितना भी हमारा डेटा है वो टोटली सिक्योर है, इनक्रिप्टेड है, और वो सिर्फ एंड टू एंड ट्रांसमिशन जिसके पास, इट मींस हाउ वी कैन से only the authenticated and authorized users are able to access that particular data. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि कोई भी उस डेटा को एक्सेस कर ले रहा है किसी भी फॉर्मेट में, इफ ही लाइक वेदर ही इज ऑथेंटिकेटेड और authorized users, or whether he is authenticated or not a authorized user. So this is something how we can make sure that our data is basically accessed by only authorized and the authenticated user. So this is what a cyber security it is. So cybercrime, it is something we can say cyber crime is basically done by the cyber criminals or by the hackers. अभी उनका इंटेंशन कुछ भी हो सकता है, जो हैकर्स या फिर साइबर क्रिमिनल्स हैं, उनका इंटेंशन कुछ भी हो सकता है, वेदर दे कैन डू इट फॉर अ मनी, या फिर वो किसी फन के लिए भी कर सकते हैं, या फिर दे आर जस्ट डूइंग टू check their skills. There are multiple type of hackers. It depend on the person to person. Exactly how he's just trying to like what he's just trying to do with the particular type of a data. And nowadays, cybersecurity is basically getting a very crucial for the enterprise environment, because now we know our data is totally into the digital format, right? Digital format, it means we have stored our code in our server. We have all those documentation in our server, like crucial finance. Like we can just take an example. Like if there is an organization which basically deals with the financial audits, right? Financial audits of the different organizations, and all those data they are storing over some server, right? So this is something कि अगर जो किसी को भी उनके फाइनेंशियल रिकॉर्ड्स मिल गए, so they can do anything with that organization, right? Might be let me just take an example. जैसे कि एक एक्स वाई जेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है और एक एबीसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है। एबीसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने एक्स वाई जेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की फाइनेंशियल ऑडिट की, और उसकी जितनी भी फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन थी वो उसने अपने पास किसी सर्वर पे स्टोर कर ली। अगर जो किसी हैकर को मिल जाती है उसकी फाइनेंशियल ऑडिट, तो हो सकता है वो एक्स वाई जेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में अपने, जस्ट लाइक लेट मी जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल, कि वो शायद स्टॉक मार्केट में वो लिस्टेड हो, तो वो स्टॉक मार्केट में भी कुछ पैसा इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसके पास फाइनेंशियल रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, एंड ही नोस कि अगले 1 ईयर या 6 मंथ में वो कंपनी कैसे परफॉर्म करेगी। सो दिस इज समथिंग रियली क्रूशियल थिंग्स। सो we'll be moving to our next slide. I hope you understand what is cybercrime, and and how the cyber security is going to secure, how we can make sure that with the help of cyber security we can secure our environment, and we can secure our asset across the enterprise network. Now we know there are different type of attacks are happening across the globe. As you can see, sorry for that. Uh, as you can as you can see in my slide, there are different type of attacks happening over the world. Okay, जो कि एक बहुत ही बड़ा चैलेंज बन गया है हम लोग के लिए, right? So let me just take an example. So there you can see a ransomware attack, disinformation drives, malware attack, vulnerable IoT devices, insider attack, remote work environment, cryptocurrency and digital asset theft. So इसमें से एक बहुत फेमस अटैक है, that is called ransomware attack. So ransomware attack, I hope you know about the ransomware attack. It is something very big attack in the in the initial days. I think it's in 2000, between 2010 to 2020. Okay, so what ransomware attack will do? Basically, ये आपके सिस्टम की सारी फाइल इनक्रिप्ट कर देता है, right? The attacker will send some ransomware malware, and what it will do, it will basically encrypt all your data in your system, and then it will just give you one pop-up. If you want your data, you have to pay some amount, right? So basically while sending this, what happened with the ransomware, कि ये आपकी डेट सारी की सारी फाइल्स को इनक्रिप्ट कर देगा, एंड आपको उन इनक्रिप्ट फाइल को डिक्रिप्ट करने के लिए, वापस से उन फाइल्स को देखने के लिए आपको कुछ एक की चाहिए होगी, एंड वो की आपके हैकर के पास होगी, जिस की को पाने के लिए आपको एक पर्टिकुलर एक अमाउंट पे करना पड़ सकता है। सो ransomware अटैक इट्स रियली लाइक something called like very dangerous attack. If this happens, so it means it's very less chances that you can just uh, decrypt your data without paying some amount. So let me just give you the picture of this like how it exactly it looks like. So this is how it looks like. So once your file will be encrypted, so it will give something window like this. Yes. Yeah. So oops, your file has been encrypted, and this is the key to encrypt. You need the key, right? So so for that, the hacker will contact you either via email, or they will ask you pay in the form of a Bitcoin, so you cannot trace them out exactly. Yeah. Okay, so this is the main window you will see when you just when you basically get into the ransomware attack. So there are the multiple attacks. So this is something which most of us guys have seen. Either we have a listen, either we have listened this attack, or we have seen this ransomware attack. So there's a type of different type of attacks. Like you can say DDoS attack, where attacker, what he can do, he can just sending a multiple packets from the multiple systems into one server, so that hacker can make slow down that server, or he can shut or he can anyhow he can make that service unable for others. Then this is something getting huge, right? As we know, nowadays there are multiple malwares, trojans are getting created by different type of hackers, right? And as we can see, within just 1 minute, there are 2021 instances are getting infected, right? 2021. It means uh, there are total 2021 machines or the users are getting infected from different type of malware. Either could be the malware or by any attack. So we just wanted to make sure that how we can just uh, remove such type of risk, and how we can make sure that it will that our enterprise data or enterprise data or the enterprise users are not getting affected by such type of attacks. Because if enterprise users or enterprise machines are getting infected by such type of attacks, so might be they can basically populate internally within the infrastructure. So that is something really crucial for those devices, or for the enterprise network, because if it is getting populated internally, so might be they can just shut down the servers, might be they can affect the multiple services. So just to like get rid of these challenges, and from such type of attacks, there are different type of cybersecurity solutions are now like coming the picture. So we can see as in this slide, we can see first we have to safeguard our network from the top infrastructures. मीन्स जहां से हम लोगों का डेटा फर्स्ट पॉइंट में एंटर करेगा, हम लोग उसको कैसे सिक्योर कर सकते हैं, हाउ वी कैन मेक श्योर ओनली द ऑथराइज्ड एंड द ऑथेंटिकेटेड यूजर्स आर entering to our network, and only authorized and the authenticated data we are serving, and those users are able to access only the authorized and the authenticated data. Okay, so how we can just make sure. So this is something we can say the network security came into the picture. In the network security, we'll be placing our firewall. Like initial days, what we'll be doing, we'll be placing a firewall, and we will be placing a introduce IDS systems, antivirus software. We'll be placing a security policies, and we just making a secure communication. Also, one more thing, while placing all those devices, how we can make sure that our data won't get lost, right? Data loss prevention, or we can say a DLP. And also, while sending any data over the internet, how we can make sure that our data is encrypted. Because as we know, internet is a some is it is something where if internet is something if we are sending any data over the internet, so if we are not encrypting our data, so anyone can dig- anyone can see what we are sending, and that is something becomes really really uh, tough for the enterprise network, right? If we are not able to encrypt our data. So so as we know, so nowadays, because of such type of such type of such type of requirement or such type of environment in the enterprise, nowadays cybersecurity requirement or the job vacancies is getting boosted day by day. As we as soon we are basically converting all our uh, hard copies to this something how so as we know, um, as soon as we'll be coming up from physical uh, digital. Now, as digital form, we are able to how sure our data is from type of attacks. So because we wanted to make sure that our data is secured, and so we'll so as we are making sure that our data is getting secured. So as soon as the time is passes, uh, company needs more and more cybersecurity researchers, network security engineers. Such type of profiles are getting boosted in the enterprise environment. Now each and every company needs a cybersecurity team in their infrastructures so that they can make sure their data is secure, and and the users, those who are accessing that data, they are only authenticated and authorized users. So so as initially we discussed, cybersecurity, what are the cybersecurity goals? So cybersecurity goals, basically, we just want that our data should be encrypted, so that only or our data should be encrypted, and we should have a access control in the infrastructure, so that we can make sure only authenticated and authorized users can access the data. It's not only for the authenticated and authorized. We must have a physical protection in the data centers, so that only specific and authorized users can enter into the data centers and check the physical servers. Also, in terms of DLP, we make sure that we should have a backup for each and every services, so that if in case server A goes down, so there will be server B. He can That server can take place, right? So this is something the cybersecurity goals, like how we can uh, make sure our data is totally secure. So, so as soon as we will be moving forward, as initially I have discussed, in the top of the hierarchy, we have something called firewall. Firewall is, it could be the hardware, it could be the software as well. So what is the work of the firewall? Basically, firewall can filter out all the incoming and outgoing network traffic with the help of the policies that is being defined by the organization. Basically, काम क्या है? It can all the traffic. Basically, is a hardware type of machine, or we can say it's a software type of machine, which we will be placing in the mid of the in the top of our infrastructure. And what it will be doing? It is just filtering out all the data, right? Which is basically with the help of policies that is defined by the organization, right? All the incoming and the outgoing traffic, it will just check, okay, that traffic is that particular traffic we have to allow or we have to block. That is the decision which firewall take. It's also that decision is also depend on the defined policies that is being defined by the network security administrator or by the organization. ऑल्सो वी कैन से फायरवॉल जो है हम लोगों के प्राइवेट और इंटरनेट के बीच में एक मीडिएटर है, जो कि ये मेक श्योर कर रहा है कि जो भी इनकमिंग एंड आउटगोइंग ट्रैफिक है, वो सारा का सारा वही ट्रैफिक है जो कि सिक्योर है और ओनली ऑथेंटिकेटेड एंड ऑथराइज्ड आर एक्सेसिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर डेटा. Also we can place a firewall. It's not like कि हम लोग प्राइवेट और इंटरनेट और प्राइवेट नेटवर्क में ही सिर्फ फायरवॉल को प्लेस कर सकते हैं. हम लोग प्राइवेट नेटवर्क में भी प्लेस कर सकते हैं प्राइवेट टू, कि हम लोग दो लोकेशंस और दो लोकेशंस के बीच में भी मेक श्योर कर सकते हैं कि like the incoming and outgoing traffic will filter it out. Also, then apart from that, firewall have the capability that it can identify the malicious traffic. Okay, the malicious traffic, either it is entering from the private network or from the internet. So that if he will able to identify the malicious traffic, so it means it can basically save us from the sophisticated cyber attacks. Okay. So there are different type of firewalls in as I mentioned, there are different type of firewalls. First off, we can see the packet filtering firewall, circuit level gateways, stateful infection firewall, proxy, next generation firewall, cloud firewalls. So these are the different firewalls, which is which we can see, and sorry, there are different firewalls which we can see. Each and every firewall have their own role. So nowadays, the next generation firewall is getting into the patch in, in the picture a lot. Okay, and the cloud, we can see cloud virtual firewalls, which will be deploying over our cloud infrastructures. In this session, we'll be discussing about more about the next generation firewalls, how next generation firewalls came into the picture, and how they are the game changers, right? How they changes the game for the enterprise network with the help of next generation firewall. As initially we have discussed, uh, एज इनिशियली वी हैव डिस्कस कि अगर जो हम लोग इंटरप्राइज नेटवर्क को अपने सिक्योर करना है, सो वी हैव टू डिप्लॉय डिफरेंट different type of devices like IDS, IPS. We have to encrypt our data. We have to set our policy. So this is something we have to use a multiple devices to do such type of things. But next generation firewalls, when they came into the picture, they have that capability that we can deploy all those such type of things within under this firewall, this firewall have all those features, the next generation firewall. Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, we'll be deploying a different. Initially, we have mentioned that on a traditional way. In the traditional way, we are deploying different type of security devices in our infrastructure. Like as I mentioned, the IPS, IDS, and we have access control over the router, access list over the router. So there is some problem with the traditional IPS, introducing provisioning system. They have something they have the problems like they cannot ki- they cannot find the particular suspicious application and they cannot kill it, right? It is something the predefined things only they can identify. Okay, it won't have a capability कि वो लोग एसएसएल या फिर एसएसएस ट्रैफिक को इनक्रिप्ट कर दे, इनक्रिप्टेड ट्रैफिक को एसएसएच या फिर एसएसएल इनक्रिप्टेड ट्रैफिक को डिक्रिप्ट करके उसको चेक कर सके कि उस एसएसएल और एसएसएच ट्रैफिक में क्या है, ठीक है? And they also don't have a capability that वो can compressed file या compressed content को identify कर सके. Also they don't have a capability कि वो लोग specific users के basis पे उस चीज को identify कर सके, right? These are the some 7 issues with the traditional IPS. Okay, because of that, the next generation firewall came into the picture, and next generation firewall have the capability that it is able to resolve all issues from the starting. We'll be discussing that how we can how a business needs a safe enablement, right? In our enterprise network, we must have some devices which can help us to allow and block the traffic, but something that is something not enough for us, like allowing and the blocking the traffic, because that we can do with the help of router as well, right? So that is something is not enough. Like we will be allowing some IPs or blocking some IPs, right? To safeguard our environment, we need all P2P applications like point-to-point connection. It means, as I mentioned from the starting, I'll be saying two words: authenticated and authorized users. Means it is not something कि every users are able to access every service, right? Within internal network, right? It should be like only the authenticated users for that service, authenticated and authorized users for that service can access the specific service. Okay, and also this is something they can we need some devices which can scan the thread within the internal network. Apart from the internet, they, they can also they have the capability that they can at least scan the internal network, internal threads. Right? Might be someone has inserted. Let me just take an example. What exactly this mean to say? Basically, let's just take an example. There is one user, and what he did, he just inserted a pen drive in his laptop. Okay, once he inserted a pen drive in his laptop, what happened? Because of that, on that pen drive, we have some malicious files or the malicious malware or something. And when he inserted a pen drive in his laptop, because of that, what happened? That particular malware or the malicious softwares, it that came into his laptop. Okay, because of that, it is and somehow that is an enterprise laptop, right? So we need some devices in our infrastructures, those who can such type of things, like because that software is not came from the internet, right? This is something the user have inserted pen drive in their laptop, and because of that, that malicious software came into the laptop, right? Now, now we need some devices, those who can basically scans such type of things, such type of internal threats within the infrastructure. Also, we need devices through which we can limit the app per user. Like we just want only such type of applications will be accessible for those users. It shouldn't be like all the applications, all the users are able to access, right? Also, we can shape the QoS means quality of service. This means if someone in there, if if we are serving some services, okay, and we just want that that particular traffic will be prioritized all the times from all the traffics, right? So that type of features also we want in our infrastructure so that we can prioritize our important data. Okay, the keyless type of services we'll be using in our meeting type of conferences type of things, right? In our conferences, we can just define a QoS over the network security devices, and because of that, it will get prioritized, and so it is something key. We have some important services, and we just want that that particular traffic will get prioritized among all the traffic. Okay, okay. So safe enablement, basically how we can make sure that whatever the devices we are using in our infrastructures, they are deployed in a right manner, and we are using the right devices or not. So this is something, these are the some points through which we can make sure, like do not use any rough deployment. The device which will be deploying that must have a control function. Okay, must control by the user. Okay, create a safe security zone. Protect again IAS, like there these are the vulnerabilities. Okay, and it has a capability that scan different type of malwares. Also, it has the device must have a capability that it can scan the confidential data, or we can say encrypted encrypted data, so that we can make sure that particular data is whatever data you will be sending, that is being scanned by the devices. Because so this is something, some safe tip enablement through which we can make sure that our data, like the devices that we had deployed, they are in the right manner. Okay, so there is some issue in the traditional ways, like as initially we have discussed, like we can allow and the block. We can do allow and blocking type of things within our router as well, or in the traditional firewall. What is the main difference between the traditional firewall and the next generation firewall? That the traditional firewall have the capability that it can scan the traffic till network level, sorry, till transport layer only. Means the traditional firewall only have the capability that it can block the IP, or it can block the port numbers only, right? Or with the help of traditional firewall, we can allow a specific IP, or we can allow a specific ports. Okay, with the help of traditional firewall. But next generation firewall have the capability that it can analyze all the traffic. Like as I mentioned, it has the capability to do all such type of things. Like it has a capability that it can check the encrypted or the decrypted things, right? It has a capability that it can open a payload and check what is inside that particular payload. Okay, it has a capability that uh, it can identify like which type of encryption is being used. Okay, means it has a capability that it can check all the traffic till application layer, and traditional firewall have capability that it can check traffic till transport layer only. It won't have a capability that it can identify the application. It won't have a capability that it can check a encrypted data. There is something. This is something become really crucial for the for the infrastructure, that they must have a something which can make sure that. which can make sure that all these encrypted and the payload, those type of things getting scanned, so that why I'm saying that encrypted data is also needs to be scanned, because any hacker can encrypt their data and send it toward internal network, and they can set some configuration that when it deployed in the when it sent it to the user, in enterprise user, then automatically it will get decrypted and it will get populated within the internal infrastructure. Right? This is something. So that this is something, just an example. Okay. So this is the main difference between the next generation firewall and the traditional firewall, right? Which we'll be using in the traditional days. Okay. So what next generation firewall have the main capability they have, it is they have a capability, or they have a specific features through which they can identify the application. As initially I mentioned, that traditional firewall don't have a capability that it can identify the application, but the next generation firewall have the capability that it can identify the application. Okay, and also within the within this next generation firewall have the capability that we can restrict with the group of the users, or we can we can restrict, like the next generation firewall have the capability that we can identify the users, which user can access that particular service, and which user have the permission to access that particular device or the service. Initially we'll be using some different type of devices, but now the next generation firewall have that capability that within that particular firewall we can deploy such type of things. Okay, or we can integrate different type of our endpoint, sorry, uh, our identity based devices within this firewall, nation firewall. Also they have a capability that it can do all the IPS and the IPS and the IDS type of things, means it has a capability कि ये आपके सारे इंटरनल मालवेयर, ट्रोजन, एंटी स्पाईवेयर, एंटीवायरस का काम ये नेक्स्ट जनरेशन फायरवॉल कर सकती हैं. They have that capability that it can check such type of threats within the internal infrastructure. Okay, we will see how these next generation firewalls are basically are basically good for the infrastructures and how they are doing such type of things. Okay. How to choose the right firewall for your business? As per the sizing, there are the multiple vendor in our like uh, in our globally, right? There are the multiple vendor. Okay, there are the multiple vendor globally. Okay, so it's up to us how we can choose the right firewall. Okay, for our enterprise network. To choose the right firewall, we have to check something, few some prerequisites as per the firewall, right? We'll be selecting the Palo Alto firewall because it has a very user-friendly, no, user-friendly dashboard. Okay, Palo Alto firewall have a user-friendly dashboard. Apart from that, Palo Alto firewall do have something called a capability that it can perform far better from all those checkpoints, Honeypot, FortiGate, Juniper firewall. That Palo Alto some have a special feature that is called SP3 architecture. Palo Alto के पास एक अलग सा feature है that is called SP3 architecture. Because of this, Palo Alto uh, stand out from the market, right? And because of that architecture only, nowadays Palo Alto is basically adopted by almost each and every organization. Most of the organization, they are replacing most of the firewalls and they are adopting the Palo Alto firewall. Palo Alto is the top leader, right? Palo Alto is the top leader in the enterprise network. right? Because followed, as I mentioned, the main thing is about the Palo Alto is that it has a user-friendly dashboard that that any user can check what is what the particular device is trying to say. That is something makes the Palo Alto unique from all those firewalls, right? Also, the Palo Alto firewall comes with the PAN-OS. That is the PAN-OS. This is the operating system name that Palo Alto have. Okay, and if we talk about the Palo Alto features, the core features, Palo Alto has a strong networking foundation. It has a zone-based architecture. It has a capability that we can parallelly place two firewalls so that we can make sure that in case one firewall goes down, second will be available to take place, right? And it can just do all the traffic analysis and all those IPS and IDS type of uh, IPS and IDS type of things. Okay. Also, it has a capability that we can create a site to site or the VPN, SSL VPN. Also, it has a capability that we can define a quality of services. Okay, like traffic shaping. Okay. Also, it has a flexibility in terms of management. Okay, means it can provide a CLI based panorama, and also we can also export a log from this firewall to our log monitoring tool, just like if we are using a Splunk type of thing. So we can just export all those logs from this firewall to our such devices. Okay. As initially I have mentioned, it has a special capability that is called SP3 architecture. Okay. What SP3 architecture it says? Basically, SP3 architecture may we have. Let me just open the whiteboard. So what SP3 architecture says, as you can see, SP3 architecture have two planes. Just okay. So SP3 architecture basically it has what? So I hope my this whiteboard is visible. Right? So what SP3 architecture says, basically it has two things. First one is control panel. Sorry for that. First one is control panel. Okay. Then second they have something called this is called data panel. This is the main feature of the Palo Alto firewall, which is something that makes a huge difference from all those firewalls from all different type of vendors. So what control panel says that The Palo Alto Firewall have two processors. ओके, Palo Alto के पास टोटल दो प्रोसेसर होते हैं. आइडियली ईच एंड एवरी फायरवॉल हैव ओनली वन प्रोसेसर, बट Palo Alto हैव टू प्रोसेसर्स, जो कि जिसमें से एक प्रोसेसर उसने हम लोग सीपी को दे रखा है, मीन्स कंट्रोल पैनल को दे रखा है, और एक प्रोसेसर उसने डेटा प्लेन पैनल को दे रखा है. व्हाट इट मीन्स कि जो भी जितना भी हम लोग का कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मॉनिटरिंग और मैनेजमेंट रिलेटेड जितना भी टास्क होगा, दैट इज बीइंग डन बाय द कंट्रोल पैनल ओनली. ओके, एंड जितना भी हम लोगों का राउटिंग और दूसरी टास्क से रिलेटेड होगा, दैट इज बीइंग डन बाय डेटा प्लेन, राइट. सो इट मीन्स इन केस, अगर जो हम लोग के, लेट मी जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल, अगर जो हम लोग के नेटवर्क में कोई लूप बन जाता है जिसकी वजह से राउटिंग या फिर हम लोग का नेटवर्क ट्रैफिक नहीं फ्लो हो पा रहा है. सॉरी, आई थिंक समथिंग वेंट रॉन्ग. ओके, हाँ. सो व्हाट वी आर डिस्कसिंग कि हाँ, इन केस, जस्ट शेयर माय स्क्रीन अगेन. सो so what we are discussing, so total we have a two. Initially, I have discussed the control panel that is being used to do all the management type of things. Okay, so with the help of control panel, we can do all the management type of things, and data plane, that is something where we'll be like not will be configuring anything, but all the traffic analysis, security analysis, or the content ID type of things like the IPS and the IDS type of things are working in the data plane, right? So what will be discussing? Let us just take an example कि हम लोग के नेटवर्क में कोई एक लूप बन गया है जिसकी वजह से पूरा का पूरा नेटवर्क नहीं चल रहा है, राइट. So the loop is being created over the data plane, right? But we have a control panel, right? With the control panel, we can do all the modification. We can check the log कि exactly loop कहाँ पे बना हुआ है, right? This feature we can now see in the 30, in the other firewall, right? If loop being created on those firewall, those most of the firewall get shut it down, or we cannot access those firewalls. We have to unplug a cable, and then we have to plug it again, and then we have to identify, okay, this is the issue, then we have to rectify. This is something most of the firewalls have the issue, but this firewall won't have that issue. Means if we have any loop in the infrastructure, we can identify with the help of control panel, and we can do modification after seeing what the basically issue is there. Okay, so this is the main difference between the control panel and the data panel. Similarly, it has multiple features that will be we will be discussing once we start our Palo Alto session. Okay, sorry for the So, as I mentioned, IPS. As you can see, IPS is a negative enforcement model. So unless the administrator knows what is on the network, when configured, it looks like the it and anything else is allowed to transfer the network. Okay. So what that means, the traditional IPS, what they'll be doing by default, they'll be enforcing almost most of the traffic. Okay. And what next generation firewall have the capability that by default they are blocking, denying all the traffic. Okay. By default, they are denying all the traffic. They allow the traffic which is explicitly allowed, or we are allowing the traffic. That traffic only allowed. By default, they will deny almost all the traffic. Okay. This is something uh, like a good feature for the next generation firewalls, and also it has a capability that, as I mentioned, it has a capability that it can identify the app ID, user identification. It has a capability to for the content infection and the content ID infection, right? Also, some very good feature of the PanOS that it can identify the botnet if that is basically running in our infrastructure, right? It has a capability that it has a capability that it can check the PDF file. It has a capability that it can inspect the .exe or the .apk, different type of files in the infrastructure. It has a capability that it can do an infection on the SSH tunnel hole, right? It has a capability that it can encrypt the SSH traffic and check, okay, so this is the traffic which is basically traversing with the SSH. It has a capability that it can identify the app, basically which app is traversing with this firewall. Okay, so as we as we know, okay, so legacy firewall only has capability to allow and block as per the IP and the port number, right? Or the type of connection, right? So we have to place each and every devices in our infrastructure, right? IPS we have to place a different, for the URL filtering proxy server we have to place somewhere else. Okay, proxies we have to place a proxy, secure web gateway, different type of devices we have to place in our infrastructure, which is something 80% higher cost from them now, right? Which is basically not in cost effective company को इट मीन्स उनको उस चीज के लिए पे भी करना, इट मीन्स उन इंजीनियर्स को पे भी करना पड़ेगा सैलरी, राइट? विच बिकम्स something very headache for enterprise organizations, right? Means you can understand 80% now from now, right? Which is something called very hard for the operational expenses, right? As we have to, as I mentioned कि हम लोग को हर एक device के लिए like one engineer for the IPS, right? Second engineer for the proxy. Okay. So this is something become very hard for the like third engineer, which, which is for the firewall in traditional ways, the old firewalls I was talking about. Okay, so this is something become very costly for the organizations. Means after that, to make all those devices turn it on, they have to use a power, right? They have to take a subscription for each and every device, and they have to also somehow they have to hire engineers to manage all those devices, which has become something 80 to 65% higher cost as much they can expect. Okay, but apart from that, I have not included about the like space, deployment integration, headcount, training, help desk call. So this is something we can say become a headache for the organization, right? Because they have to manage a multiple devices, and also if any of the device goes down, so that become very problematic for the organization, right? Just like the proxy server goes down, so it becomes for most of the URLs will not be accessible, right? Or anyone can access any URL, right? So this is something called issue for the organization. Now we'll move into the next part. Then also this next generation firewall have the capability that we can create a site to site or the remote VPN, right? So that we can make sure bet- between our two offices, between our two offices, our data is being secured when we traversing over the internet. We can create a secure tunnel in our infrastructures, and we can make sure whatever data will be traversing between both the locations, that will be encrypted. Okay, so we can create a site to site VPN, right? Second, we can use a remote VPN in this remote VPN. Nowadays, as we know, because of the COVID, the work from home type of things is getting crazy, right? Nowadays, people are working from home. Okay, as the people started working from home, so how we can make sure that whatever data they are that user are accessing, that is that is secured, or the enterprise data is being secured on their laptop or not, because we are not sure the user the user those who are working from home, what website, what type of content they are accessing, right? So 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 make sure such type of things will be using a remote VPN. Okay, what remote VPN will do, it will create an encrypted tunnel between, just like let me just take an example. This is the user, right? This is the user who is working from home, right? And he just wanted to access any website or any service which is being there on this in his office. Okay, so he what he can do, he can just connect a remote VPN, and remote VPN, it will create an encrypted tunnel between this office to the user, so that he can access all those things within the encrypted format. So this is how the remote VPN basically works, right? The next generation firewall have the capability that this within those devices we can just create a such type of scenario or the such type of VPNs. These are the some different type of models which we can see in the Palo Alto. The 500 model, it is a basic model that we can use if we have 100 or 200 users in the internet network in our enterprise. So we can use a basic model. This is something we'll be using mainly in the data center. If we have a large scale of users, right? If we have a large scale of users, or we have multiple users, or we will be running with the multiple services, so we can use a Palo Alto 5060 model. Okay, so this is something really okay. This is something which has a capacity of 20 GB per second, right? And it has a threat prevention basically threat prevention capability. Apart from that, it has a 4 SPF, 10 gig ports, 8 SPF, 1 gig. Okay, such type of ports it has. Means it depend on the scenario where we'll be deploying the next generation firewall. If we are deploying in a small level of infrastructure, so definitely we'll be going forward with the 500 model, right? If we'll be deploying our firewall in thousand or some users are there, so we'll be going forward with the 2050 or 4050, these type of models. Okay, so it's depend on scenario to scenario. As I mentioned, so initially we have a different type of devices, right? Sorry. As I mentioned, initially we have a different type of devices, which makes a complicated enterprise network. Means complicated means just like we have a IPS, right? We have a IPS. Over the IPS, we have to define a different policies, right? We have antivirus. Over the antivirus, we have to define a different type of policies, right? We have a router. Over the router, we have to define a different type of ACLs or the routing. Okay, so which become, and all those things have to work integrately so that we can make sure that everything goes smoothly. So this is something become much more complicated for the enterprise. Means each and every place we have to define a different type of policies, and then we have to make sure we have the record. Okay, so if any authorized traffic is getting blocked, so we can connect with the so let me just take an example. Just like there is some traffic, okay, और वो ट्रैफिक बेसिकली ब्लॉक हो रहा है, बेसिकली दैट ट्रैफिक इज रिक्वायर्ड, तो वी हैव दैट मच इंफॉर्मेशन कि बेसिकली वो ट्रैफिक कहाँ से ब्लॉक हो रहा है और किस पॉलिसी से हो रहा है, राइट? अगर जो हम लोग पास इतने ढेर सारे डिवाइसेस होंगे विच बिकम समहाउ अ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, माइट बी इट विल टेक सम टाइम कि हम लोग उस चीज को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकें. ओके, to come with this to came out from such type of issues, uh, in our next generation firewall have flexible policy control response. Means within just within 2 or 3 tabs we can define a different type of policies, through which something become a really good thing. Means we have a single point of policy control, we can say. Okay, there we can define a different type of things, the decryption and the encryption policies, which traffic, which application we have to allow, which port we have to allow, which type of service we need to block. This type of things we can within just a single dashboard. Okay, so as I mentioned, it has an intuitive and a flexibility management. Means we can do a management with the help of CLI, with the help of View, with the help of Panorama. We can integrate our multiple next generation firewalls. Like in our infrastructure, we have total 100 firewall, right? Just like we have total 100 firewall in our infrastructure, and we just want कि 100 firewall को one by one manage करना, which becomes something really headache for us. As you can see, there are 5 firewalls, right? Now we just wanted to manage all those 5 firewalls. Sorry, the 4 firewalls, and we just wanted to manage 4 firewalls. So we have to log in on each and every firewall one by one, and then we have to manage. This is something become a headache for the administrator, right? How he can just manage such type of things. We have to create a record database. Okay, the list of the management IPs, the list of the username, the list of the password, the list of the location, which becomes something really a headache for. So Palo Alto came with the special box that is called Panorama Management Server. Panorama Management Server क्या करता है? Basically, we can integrate all these firewalls with this Panorama Center, and now we don't have to log in on the next generation firewall. With the help of Panorama Box, we can manage all these policies, or also if with the panorama there is something very good advantage that अगर जो हम लोग चारों लोकेशन पे एक सिंगल पॉलिसी को डिप्लॉय करना है विद द हेल्प ऑफ पैनोरामा, एक पुश पे उन चारों बॉक्स पे डिप्लॉय हो जाएगा, राइट? अगर जो हम लोग इंडिविजुअली फायरवॉल पे लॉगिन करेंगे तो वन बाय वन लॉगिन करके मुझको मैनेज करना पड़ेगा, विच बिकम्स रियली हार्ड फॉर द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, राइट? So with the help of Panorama, it is something. It's a single point of management system, we can say, right? We can integrate all the Palo Alto next generation firewalls with the Panorama, and from Panorama we can manage such type of devices very easily, right? Administrator can log in on the Panorama, and from there he can just do a modification, or we can just deploy any policy whatever he wants. Okay. Also, it has a, as I mentioned, it has a shared policy. Like as initially I have mentioned कि अगर जो एक सिंगल पॉलिसी उसको चारों लोकेशन पे डिप्लॉय करनी, तो विद द हेल्प ऑफ पैनोरामा ही कैन जस्ट डू अ शेयर डिप्लॉयमेंट। तो इनको पैनोरामा से एक पुश करना होगा, वो पॉलिसी सारे डिवाइसेस पे डिप्लॉय हो जाएगी, राइट? It has a consolidated management, logging and the monitoring Palo Alto network devices means इन चारों डिवाइसेस की जो भी मॉनिटरिंग होगी हम लोग वो पैनोरामा से एक सिंगल डिवाइस पे कर सकते हैं। इट्स नॉट लाइक कि हमको इंडिविजुअली ईच एंड एवरी डिवाइस पे लॉगिन करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? कंसिस्टेंट वेब इंटरफेस बिटवीन पैनोरामा एंड डिवाइस यूआई, इट्स लाइक कि कंसिस्टेंट मीन्स इट्स अ रियल टाइम। इट्स अगर जो आपने यहाँ पे कोई पॉलिसी पुश की, तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि यहाँ से पुश हो गई और डिवाइस पे जाके 2-3 दिन बाद अपडेट हो रही, नो, इट इज समथिंग कंसिस्टेंट कि यहाँ पे जो भी अपडेट होगा इस डिवाइस पे वो आपको पैनोरामा पे कंसिस्टेंस इंस्टेंटली दिखेगा। इट्स नॉट लाइक इट विल टेक द टाइम फॉर गेटिंग अपडेट। ओके, it's something called network monitoring, reporting, all those things we can do within this panorama. Okay, so this is something become a really good thing for the panorama management devices. Okay, as I mentioned, flexible deployment option. Flexible deployment option means, as I initially mentioned, Palo Alto have the capability that Palo Alto act as an IPS. Okay, Palo Alto also act as a router. Palo Alto act as an IDS. Palo Alto act as an proxy as well. So just like, let me just take an example. एक कंपनी है XYZ, okay, XYZ एक कंपनी है। उसने ऑलरेडी ना किसी वेंडर की फायरवॉल को प्लेस कर रखा है, ठीक है, ओवर द टॉप ऑफ द नेटवर्क, और राउटर्स प्लेस है वो अपने करंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में, टॉप लेवल के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में कोई भी चेंजेस नहीं चाहता, बट उसको अपने लैंड नेटवर्क को बहुत अच्छे से मॉनिटर करना है और उस पे डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ डिवाइसेस को प्लेस करना है, राइट? जिससे वो यूजर्स और जो भी वहां से ट्रैफिक आ रहा है उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर सके, ठीक है? तो दैट पर्टिकुलर enterprise or the organization can deploy a Palo Alto firewall, okay, in their LAN infrastructure, so that he can take a control over the LAN users, right? Means it can control the application user content visibility without inline deployment, without Palo Alto को टॉप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे प्लेस किए हुए, उसको बॉटम पे प्लेस करके विद इन अवर करंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हम लोग ऑल जितनी भी एप्लीकेशन यूजर और कंटेंट विजिबिलिटी को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। देन वी कैन प्लेस अ ट्रांसपेरेंट इनलाइन। ठीक है, ट्रांसपेरेंट बोले तो कि between the firewall and between the switch, we'll be placing our this Palo Alto next generation firewall. Okay, to control all the consolidated IPS and the URL filtering means it can also act as a proxy server, right? It has the capability that it can control the antivirus, spyware, malware, all those type of things. Okay, and then we have a normal deployment where we'll be replacing all our old firewall and we'll be placing the next generation firewall in our top of the infrastructure. Here, Palo Alto firewall can act as a app, act as a all those type of things like IPS, IDS, proxy, routing. We can do here all those things, right? If we are placing the Palo Alto firewall in the top of our infrastructure. Okay. So here we'll be replacing our old gen firewalls, and we'll be placing the our new next generation firewalls. Okay, these are these type of the flexible deployment that Palo Alto has provided, which makes which is something unique from all those firewalls or from all the vendors. Means I hope you understand कि Palo Alto it's something, इट्स ऑल इन वन बॉक्स। मीन्स अगर जो आपने एक Palo Alto का बॉक्स परचेज कर लिया है, तो इट मीन्स वी हैव द कैपेबिलिटी दैट इट कैन डू ऑल सच टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स फॉर विच you will be purchasing a different type of hardware or the softwares, right? As I mentioned, if you will be doing a certification for such type of technologies, so definitely you will be getting a higher salary, right? You must get a job promotion instantly. Okay. Also, you will be enter into the cyber security because, as I mentioned, Palo Alto have that is providing almost all such type of features for which we have to deploy different type of policies. So definitely, if it is providing such type of features, so we have to learn these things, right? Within the certification of the Palo Alto Next Generation Firewall, you are going to see he basically how these type of deployments and how these type of things are working. Okay, how the endpoint security, how the anti-spyware, anti-malware, app ID, such type of things are working in our infrastructure, right? Also, once you have that particular certification or you have that training, so definitely if you have all those knowledge, so definitely you will be getting a higher salary, right? Definitely you will be getting a job promotion. That I can make sure I can give you the guarantee once you have that particular training or the particular certification, definitely everyone will prefer you, right? Also, while doing this, we don't need any coding knowledge, but you must have an exposure in the network. Okay, like some basics of the network. Okay, and if you have something called a little bit about the cyber security, so that is also plays a huge role in this. But if you have knowledge of the network, then I think that is more than enough. You can do this certification. Also, as I mentioned, competitive advantage difference you from the other candidates, demonstrate commitment, updated knowledge, better understanding of the industry and the new technologies. As I mentioned, nowadays each and every organization adopting this, right? Now almost each and every organization adopting Palo Alto Nation Firewall. So which becomes something called really good if you have that knowledge. So definitely the companies will pay you a lot, right? Also, it has all the next generation features, which is something new in the enterprise network, right? So definitely, if you have all those knowledge, so you will be updated with the knowledge, right? With the latest knowledge, or differentiate from your other candidates. The guys, those who are in the network. So definitely, if you have this knowledge, so that make a difference from those candidates, right? It will also give a boom in your career. After certification, it will develop a solid foundation, better knowledge, better execution of the project, helps to manage your work effectively. Basically, अगर जो आपके पास इसका सर्टिफिकेशन होगा इन दिस सर्टिफिकेशन इट्स नॉट ओनली यू विल बी गेटिंग knowledge of the technology or the device sold, right? You will be going to see how you can deploy a device in our infrastructure in a better format. Okay, how you can manage the work effectively with the help of this box, how you can effectively manage your enterprise network, how you can better execute the projects, right? How you can deploy that box as per the dependent on the projects. In the particular certification, you will get all those knowledge, like the different type of scenarios, how you will be deploying the projects, all those things, right? So that is something, if you will be doing such follow the certifications, that makes you unique from all those candidates, those who are in the desktop support, technical support, network support, network administration, NOC team. Okay. Also, as I mentioned, if it is something like this, if it is something we can say, if that certification is providing updated knowledge and all those experience, so definitely it will pay you a lot from, okay, pay you a lot also. It will give a industrial exposure, that's act an additional qualification. Okay, also if you have that particular certification, definitely we the recruiter will understand कि आप new technologies को adopt कर रहे हो, they will give you a good hike. Okay, not only recruiter will understand, the manager or the interviewer, those who are also understand, might be you will get uh, success in the same enterprise network where as of now you are working. Okay, so who can just switch into this particular network security domain? The guys, those who are working as a networks administrator, the guys who are working as a desktop support, the guys who are working as a technical IT support, they can do this certification. But before doing this, you must have a basic understanding of the network. Okay. But anyway, if you don't have this, no problem. Division will provide you such type of trainings, or they have a different type of batches. You can just join the division and you can just get the knowledge of the some basic network, and then you can just move forward for the network security certification, that is Palo Alto PCNSC and PCNSC. As we can see, it offers a different type of certification, but there are the two preferred ones. This is the PCNSC and the PCNSC. Okay, so if you will be doing this certification, definitely you will be standing out from the all those traditional way or the traditional infrastructure. Okay. Also, we can see this is okay. What will be the cost for all those costs, all the certification? It varied from 110 to 175. This is the max US dollar. Okay, so the cost of the basic certification, it is 110, and the highest certification cost will be the 175 US dollar. Okay, so you can this within this amount, you can definitely adopt almost all these certifications. As you can see, as initially I have mentioned, you can see almost all the big MNCs, top 500 organizations are adopting this Palo Alto next generation firewall. Okay, so that becomes a something called really high demand in the market, and definitely it is not going anywhere till 2040 or 2050, because Palo Alto doing R&D the top is There are research and development centers or the research and development engineers. They are just booming in the market, right? Their research is just among our imagination. Okay, so let me just give you one. They came with some new technologies. There's Prisma Access. They have the Prisma Cloud, which is something a Palo Alto clouds, right? Nowadays, companies are adopting that thing only, but prior to that, prior to moving that technology, you must have knowledge of the next generation firewall because that is the main core concept. Okay, so this is it from this particular session. Let me just give you some dashboard about, show you some dashboard about the next generation firewall, how exactly it looks like. I think it will going to take a time, just a moment. I think it will take a bit time. Till now, I'll show it here. This is how the Palo Alto dashboard will look like. Let me just turn it on the device. I think it will take some time. This is deployment that I have created filters back. Okay. Okay, so let me just turn it on the firewall. This is how the firewall looks like when it booting up for the first time. Okay, so definitely it will take approx 10 to 15 minutes. Uh, then only I'll able to see show you this dashboard. Okay, but anyway, this is how this dashboard will look like. So this is how the main dashboard will look like. As I initially mentioned, that it has a both two CPUs, as you can see here, management CPU and the data plane CPU. Anyway, let's wait for a moment. Once the device will turn it on, then we'll see exactly how the dashboard will look like. Hello. Yeah, I think we got the IP of the device. Let's just log in and show you the dashboard. Hello. Hello. Yes. Hello. Yeah, I think we got the IP of the device. Hello. I think we got the IP of the device. Hello. So this is how the login dashboard of a Palo Alto device will looks like. So let me just do a login first here. Okay. Take the password. I think it will take a bit time to accept the password. Oh, it got some error. Okay. I think it will take some time. So anyway, we'll show you in some other session like how that will look like. But anyway, just a minute. I think that box throws some error because of this. This is not accepting the password. No, no, it's working. Fine. Okay. System is analyzing. Please wait. Okay. I think we have to wait for some time more. Okay. Let's try to log in again. This, this is the dashboard will look the Palo Alto Firewall dashboard. So here you can see all the device information, right? All this who the users, those who are logging on this machine. Okay. And this is something data logs, system logs, how the device is working. Also, the thing that I wanted to show you, system. Data application. Yeah. So this is okay. So this is what I'm trying to what makes the Palo Alto special from other firewalls. Okay, from other vendors. Basically, it has a management CPU. With the help of management CPU, we will be doing all the configuration. And with the help of data plane CPU, it will be doing all the network related things. Now we can see there is no such devices and all those. There is no traffic in the network. So that's why we'll be not seeing any users of in the data plane CPU, but we'll be doing some modification or we are doing to log in over the firewall. That's why the management CPU is getting used by 48%. It's that much high because it's a virtual deployment and I have not provided a much RAM or the storage to this box. So that is the reason it is getting used by 48%. Otherwise, if you will see in the enterprise network, so definitely it won't get over exhausted like the 4 or 5%. That's it. So this is what the single point of management, like the monitoring related things you can see. You can see all the traffic here. And as I mentioned, all such type of policies you can deploy here, right? The decryption, policy-based forwarding, QoS, NAT, security policies. And in the object, you can see here you can define a different type of IPS and the IDS. As I can see, as you can see here, there is a URL filtering. Okay, the URL category and all those URL you can define here. The security profiles, antivirus, anti-spy here. Such type of things you can define it here, and after that you can just call it the security policies, and it will get uh, like push for the users. Okay, and from here you can just do all such type of things. Right, as I mentioned, it supported almost all those user authentication method. Either you can just create a user database here in the firewall, or also you can export the database user database from the different type of identity access management devices. Right, either it could be the Active Directory, or you can also export it from the Radius, TechX, LDAP, Kerberos. These are some authentication protocols for the devices that we'll be using in our enterprise network. You can export it from anywhere. It depends upon you. That is the best flexibility that Palo Alto has provided, as initially I have mentioned. And then with the help of routing, from a different type of routing, either either you can run a BGP, OSPF, any routing protocol, you can run it here. Let me just show you. Let me just a moment. Show router. So here you can see you can perform a RIP, OSPF, or OSPF version 3, BGP, or you can even do a multicasting over there, right? Also, you can define a static route here. Protocol, you can run it here. So, let me just show you. So this is something. Hello. So this is what Palo Alto Firewall which looks like. So if you are enrolling for this program, so definitely we will going to see how we can do such type of deployments, how we can let me just show you. This is the type of scenario that I have created. Here you can see this is the India, this is the Norway, this is the work from users, how they are with each other, and this is the management how we are doing like the policy push or how we are just managing from the single management interface. of all those devices. This is a basic I've created. So we will see different type of deployments in our infrastructure, how we are deploying such type of firewalls and such type of devices. Okay, so if you are enrolling for the program, definitely we'll see into this. So this is it for from this session, and I hope everything got clear. If you have any doubts, yeah, do please let me know. Hello, hello.